Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next chapter of From Nothing, Luxunvur. We last left Mr. Luxunvur, aka Levi, in the Bard's Library, studying up about knowledge and histories. But if you'd like, I'd like to jump ahead in time a little bit.
Sure.
In that case, it is the next day. You have spent the night here at the Mariguard Academy in your dormitory for the first time. Do you think Luxunvur would have slept well in his new digs?
I would say he slept. Well, probably not, being on edge, and the knowledge at his fingertips that he has yet to access.
Okay. In that case, would he have woken up on time?
Yeah, I think he would have.
All right. Then do you go get breakfast, or do you just go straight to class?
Uh, Probably get breakfast and head to class, something small and light.
Okay. If you eat what is offered to you, then you have 3 temporary hit points.
More than the tea gave me, I'll take it.
There it is. After eating breakfast and heading to the monk classroom, Ariakis' classroom, this time you see that the other individual, the one that you had met briefly, is there in the room as well. He is practicing what looks like a strange acrobatic stretch, where he is twisting his body around what looks like the stump of a tree. But when you enter, he straightens himself up and he says, "Hey, sorry about yesterday. I didn't really greet you properly." And he just kind of waves.
I'll give him a slight head nod. It's not too much of a bother.
He tips his head and says, I am Kyo Kisei.
Oh, it is a pleasure to meet you, Kyo. You can call me Levi.
I imagine we'll be working together quite a bit here. At least, maybe not today, but soon.
Well, I suppose I look forward to it then.
Iriakis, who has been... Well, it looks like he's just been standing and watching. You realize he has, as before, been meditating. And you hear him just kind of take a couple steps forward on the water, which he always stands atop the water. Whereas...
And as a point to that, because Levi would have seen that last time, this time he is trying to walk lightly enough to maybe gain some ground on the water, but it's a futile attempt.
Yeah, you don't at all. There's...
Yeah.
Levi would see that there is something going on here he doesn't understand. Ariakis, looking at you and at Kyo, would say, "I am pleased to see you both on time." And you see Kyo just kind of looks down. Now, Kyo, you will perform the exercises as I have instructed while I break in our new recruit. Kiao kind of bows, and he heads off while you and Ariakis are still in this main, almost like circle of trees and stone. You told me yesterday you are prepared for the work ahead.
Yes.
Good. We must test you. Before anything else, I wish for you to attempt to strike me.
Alright. And he'll take a deep breath and slowly walk over to him.
Okay. Ariakis does not seem to change his posture. His hands are clasped behind his back. He stands relaxed and just looks at you.
I'll take my form and just kind of look at him. It's kind of awkward. He feels strange and hasn't really been put in this situation before. But eventually he'll throw out a punch.
Roll an attack. "19. As you step forward and hurl the first punch, Ariakis seems to anticipate the move, and he just tilts to the left slightly. Just enough so that all of the strength is gone out of your punch by the time it reaches him. And he says, Not quite. Try again."
So, he'll go again?
Okay, roll another attack.
That's not good.
This attack, Ariakis, I'm going to say you were aiming like for the upper chest. And this time, Ariakis just turns and brushes off his shoulder as if you weren't attacking him, as if that was something he was doing anyway. And he says, "You make your intentions clear. Maybe you would be best to be less obvious. Try again."
He'll take a deep breath and he'll close his eyes. And then he'll turn and try to swing without thought.
Roll an attack with advantage, because he's helping you.
Net 20.
You land a punch square in the solar plexus. Now, it sounds like it hurts, but your hand hurts.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You do damage, though, so go ahead and roll damage. Okay, crunchy crits. You roll the 3, so you deal 10 points of damage with that. That's a good hit. However, your knuckles feel as though you've just punched a concrete wall. And when you open your eyes again, you see Ariakis is looking down at his chest. And he performs like this strange ritual where he holds his hands up in front of himself and presses a fist to a palm, twisting it, and he says, "That was good. You have potential. You need not think so much, which is where the training comes in. A good first step. Are you ready for a long day?"
Ready as I'll ever be.
He doesn't smile, he doesn't nod, he just turns and walks away, and he gestures for you to follow him. All right, so for your first day, there's going to be a skill challenge here, okay?
Oh boy, okay.
Only, instead of like a number of successes you need to succeed, there is no success, but there is a fail, okay? So, basically, we're going to see how many times you can accomplish the tasks Ariakis has assigned for you. until you inevitably fail.
Okay. Okay. Fucking hell. I'm down. Let's do it. Let's get it.
Okay. This classroom is enormous. You know that. You're outside in this brilliant and beautiful, watery, like clear, clean water rainforest glade, almost. And he leads you to this place where the trees they're not so upright anymore. Many of them are at sharp angles and almost crisscross each other at 30 degrees. And he instructs you to run along the trees without slipping and without falling. And you have to run across each and every tree until you can reach him. And he begins to walk along the trees. He does not show any struggle or strain. But the instant you step on one of the mossy, slick, angled trees, I need you to roll me an acrobatics check at disadvantage.
Oh, God. Well, could have been worse.
Could have been worse. You do not immediately slip and fall on your face. But you step on the tree and you just feel there's no friction. Your feet just... and you slip all the way back into the water. And Ariakis just continues walking. This is the challenge. You have to try and catch up to him. And it's going to require either an acrobatics check or another idea by you, if you have any other ideas.
Okay. So he's going up the trees, right?
Yeah, just walking.
Okay.
He's moving at half speed. Looks like he's relaxed about it.
How sharp is the angle up the tree?
30 degrees.
30 degrees.
It's pretty sharp.
It's fucking sharp, yeah. Can I use my quarterstaff while running up the trees to kind of give me more of a grip to kind of get rid of the disadvantage?
You can change the disadvantage to a penalty by doing that.
Okay, I'll take it.
Okay, so roll acrobatics.
Oh, that was a 16. That's bullshit.
Well, with a 13, you using the quarterstaff to try and get some bite with the edge of the round tip of the staff, you manage to move about 10 feet up the tree. You don't slide down, which is good. So you've made some progress.
Okay. Okay. Just gonna keep going.
You can do it again? Okay.
Roll, please. Thank you.
12. Okay, with a 17. You kind of get the hang of it a little bit. You move more quickly. You move another 20 feet up the tree. And you look up, and about 60 feet up the tree, Ariakis has stopped and is looking back at you. It is... You feel your feet wanting to slide out from underneath you at any moment. You feel like the quarterstaff is everything that's keeping you up on the tree. Go ahead and roll another acrobatics.
Oh boy. Okay, that's good.
Okay. Same result. You move another 20 feet up the tree, and Ariakis has folded his arms across his chest and is watching you patiently.
Okay, here we go again.
Another acrobatics.
Oh god, I'm scared.
A 19. Okay. You make it to Ariakis, where when you finally do, you can feel your legs beginning to fatigue from the strain of squeezing like left and right to this tree. The quarterstaff has proved really, really useful, and Ariakis kind of nods, and then he turns and continues walking up the tree.
Okay.
All right. Roll another acrobatics.
Damn it. Alright.
18. At this point, with how you've seemed to come up with a solution that works to use the quarterstaff to bite into the tree, and it punches into the moss, and you can keep your weight above it, Ariakis leads you around on these steep, angled trees in a wide circle. Now I need you to make a Constitution save, as it is exhausting.
Oh boy, I'm not the best at this one.
Yep.
Yep, nope. Nope.
Okay. It's with the penalty. Okay, so as you are walking, well, walking's kind of a strong word. As you are struggling up these tree trunks, the quarterstaff bit, you go up and you go down over these arched trees. You begin the process of climbing up another one. Your arms are like jelly. Your legs are exhausted. And Ariakis still, almost frustratingly, is just strolling. He looks back at you one last time, and as he does, you can feel your arms just almost like that when you are really straining yourself, that crick in your joints on your fingers, and you feel yourself lose the grip on the quarterstaff. And as quickly as that, you feel yourself sliding back down, and then you slip over the edge of the trunk until you land in the water. Now, surprisingly, you know that the water's only like an inch or two deep. When you fall into the water, you don't feel the bottom.
Oh.
You look around underwater and it's dark, but you can see the light above you.
And if I reach out to feel the bottom, nothing?
Nothing.
So, if I get up out of the water, am I standing?
Yes.
And I look down, is there a bottom?
Yep. It's the same kind of stony, leaf-strewn ground that it always is.
Making a mental note on that one. He just looks confused as fuck.
Your quarterstaff is floating a couple feet away, and Ariakis is looking down over the side of the trunk, and you hear him call out to you and say, "Very good. Go slow. Patience. You struggle because you rush. Wait and let the moss cling to you."
I just give him a nod.
He doesn't stop though. he continues on to say, "I admire your efforts in your impatience. You forced it for quite a while." So you watch as he continues walking on the tree trunks. And the only thing that there is to do is to go back to the beginning of the tree trunk in the water.
Okay, go back to the tree trunk.
What do you do?
I just put my feet on it and I sit there. And I just wait for it to cling to me, like he said.
Roll me a wisdom save.
17.
At first, you're frustrated. Obviously, you're like, what is this going to do? This doesn't mean anything. But with a 17, you remember how Ariakis always seems to have this almost annoyingly calm and placid outlook onto whatever it is that he's doing. And on this tree trunk, you can still see him walking as though going to the store on Sunday. And you force yourself to relax. And with a 17 in wisdom save, you force yourself to relax. And as soon as you do, you feel just the stress kind of go away. It's hard to be truly angry in this place. It's too calm. It's too peaceful. And when your muscles settle, you feel an energy in you that maybe you weren't really aware of, but it seems to be collecting in the soles of your feet. And when you look down, the moss seems as though it's almost gathered around your boots.
I try walking.
You can.
Oh shit. I'll walk up to Iriakis.
How fast do you walk?
Half speed, like him. He told me not to be fast, so I'm not going fast.
You do not fall off the trunk.
Shit.
It is like walking up a steep incline.
Oh yeah.
But as you stay calm and you stay focused, without getting frustrated, you can feel your feet biting. They're not going to slip. When you finally make it up the trunk, and Iriakis is looking at you, and he says, "Good. Good." And then he just walks away. He just keeps walking. I need you to roll another wisdom save.
Fuck! That did throw him off. 14.
When you are startled, just that spike of anxiety, you feel your left foot suddenly, and you manage to catch it. You don't fall all the way off the tree, but you do have to kind of recenter yourself.
Okay. Just wait to ask your questions. Just breathe.
What is going through Levi's mind right now?
It's trying to be nothing. He's trying to have no thoughts. It's incredibly hard for him to have no thoughts. He just wants to ask questions about why this is working and how his feet manage to stay glued while being calm, and he's just trying not to think.
Got you. That's fair. That's reasonable. I need you to roll me another wisdom save. This one at advantage.
Okay, good.
That was the right answer.
It didn't help. It didn't help.
Another 14. Okay. You are not slipping off the tree, but you cannot move forward. You can feel it. You can feel the trunk. The moss is growing slicker. Your right foot is firmly planted, but your left, you're having a hard time settling, and you can almost feel like anxiety climbing because you had it before. Where did it go? You're losing it, but...
Yeah, that's exactly what's going through his mind. He's like, don't think. But as soon as he says that, he's like, well, why the fuck is this one slipping off? And he gets a little irritated, and he's got to calm himself back down like, no, stop, breathe, just breathe. Got this. He's struggling.
Roll me another wisdom save.
Nope, that one. His thoughts take over.
Yep. You in the frustration and the anxiety, you begin to think like, I was doing it so well before. What happened? And then you just you slide all the way down the tree into the water again.
He just takes and he leans his head on the tree in a deep sigh.
When we fall, we try again. You will learn this, Levi. You look up, you see Iriakis on an opposite tree, but standing as he was before. You must control the frustrations and the anger, for that does not become us.
Right. No, just take a deep breath.
When he looks at you, he says, perhaps another motivation. Should you reach me, I will share with you a trolley cake.
What is a trolley cake?
You will find out.
Okay. I think this time he's going to start climbing, but with his eyes closed. And he's just going to try to focus on the nothing and the darkness he sees.
Okay. I like where you're going with this. You can roll that wisdom save with advantage.
Okay. Alright, good.
Yeah. With a dirty 20. You close your eyes, you focus entirely on trying to stay calm, and you walk. At half speed, you climb the trunk. You walk for quite a while. Finally, as you're walking, you kind of let yourself swim in the nothing. Just the concentration of foot over foot, walking in a straight line. You suddenly feel a hand press against your chest. When you open your eyes, Iriakis is standing there, and he says, "Well done. Here." And he holds out a hand, and he is holding a half of a round and it's a golden brown. It smells delicious. It smells of sugar and caramel and custard. And he's holding it towards you. It is a trolley cake, which is basically, it's a donut filled with caramel cream.
I'll take it and I'll eat it.
It's delicious.
That's wonderful.
These are my favorite from Port Sanctia.
That is quite tasty.
Worth it?
It was worth it.
Good.
And I look back. How far did I actually walk?
You look back. You are very high. You walked 300 feet.
I need to make a wisdom save not to freak out here.
Okay.
DC's 12.
All right. You are surprised at just how far you have walked, but that does not affect you. Because you realize as you were focusing and meditating, you've lost track of time. Iriakis says, "Come. We must continue your training." And he turns and continues walking up the tree. Only it's not that much farther now. You see that there is actually a location you are trying to reach.
Oh, okay.
He crests the trunk, and you see that he kind of steps up onto a flat of various tree trunks that connect into a giant platform.
I follow, looking bewildered and in amazement.
Okay. It is only a few more feet, so I will not make you roll a wisdom save. It would be funny if you failed here, but no, I'm not going to do it. You make it up onto this platform, and it is a canopy platform made of all these tree trunks blending together into like a floor that's very springy, of branches that have been woven together, unnaturally almost. And as you emerge up on the surface here, Iriakis looks at you and he says, "You did that well. You learn quickly. You understand the principles. If you struggle with the practice. How are you feeling right now?"
I feel more calm than when I started, and if not, excited that I made progress.
Good. Now, I want you to listen to me very carefully. When you are in difficult situations, or The world seems as though its pressures are trying to push their way into your thoughts and minds. You must learn how to center yourself. You took the first steps of it today, and I am impressed. I want you to roll me an intelligence check.
Okay, here we go. Oh my god.
That's really good.
Sure is.
Okay. For the rest of the day, you spend learning how to meditate. You learn how to center yourself when things are difficult. You learn how to push outside pressures away from you when you are scared or in a fight or when things from the outside world are trying to alter how you think. You learn how to defend yourself mentally from those problems, whether they be from outside influences or just your own emotions. By the end of the day, you are tired, you have one level of exhaustion, but you have gained proficiency in wisdom saving throws.
Oh yeah, I'll take it.
I thought you might.
That's fucking wonderful. Yes. Thank you. That is quite amazing.
So go ahead and make that change.
I sure did.
By the end of the day, Ariakis and you have made your way back to the main, the main puddle, the circle, as it were, which is what Ariakis calls it, is the circle, the primary training ground, where Kyo also shows that he has been training all day and is also exhausted. Ariakis looks between the two of you and he says, "You have both done well today. I expect to see you again tomorrow at the same time. The evening is yours. You are dismissed."
I'll give him a slight bow and head out.
Okay. You have the rest of the day.
What time is it? What'd you say?
It's 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. Ooh, that was a long session.
Yeah. You
Oh,
spent
boy.
all day climbing trunks, learning how to focus yourself and relax.
As much as he just wants to go back and go to sleep, I think he has so many questions. He is gonna go look for Tabernacle.
Oh, okay. So you don't actually know exactly where Tabernacle is?
I
However,
remember. I got the note. Persh told me that if I went down the hall to the tower and just went straight up to the top.
okay. Yep. You now have the directions to Tabernacle. So, you follow them. All right. As you're climbing the stairs, you are tired. As you're climbing up the stairs to Tabernacle's classroom, the tower is different from the hall that you came through. It is almost more sparse, and the air is cool. But as you climb the tower, the air is getting warmer and warmer until it is maybe mechanically it's like 75 degrees, which is a little warm but still room temperature. You enter Tabernacle's classroom. Okay. Hold on. The first thing you see is a massive library. Shelves of scrolls and books and arcane objects look like small spell component pouches and jars filled with all sorts of things line the walls as you look around. And in the middle of this library are 2 tables. At one table, you see there is a halfling woman with dark hair who has books spread out open in front of her, and she looks up and says, "Oh, hello there." She takes in your attire, the monk training garb, and she says, "Well, you don't look much like a wizard. I could be assuming, and if so, I apologize." And she kind of looks around and says, "What you looking for?" You see that at another table. Actually, hold on. Let me put her in the room because she is here. There. That's what she looks like.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. I like how she looks.
And then another table, you see there is a tall elf who has a wand out on the table, and he has his fingers pressed to it, and he has his eyes closed. He's around here somewhere. He is not looking at you, but he says, "Welcome, stranger. I am afraid I am busy, so I apologize for my lack of introduction." And the halfling looks at you and says, "Pay him no mind."
So, he hears this, but it doesn't really register, as he's kind of looking in like a circular motion, kind of spinning,
Yeah.
kind of awestruck by the amount of things in this room.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
It's... Hello?
Hello.
Can I help you find something?
I was looking for Tabernacle.
Oh, he's, And she, turns and points, and you see that this library suddenly has an end. There's a balcony railing on the far side of it from you. And beyond it, you can see a massive cairn. And she says, "Just down those stairs, you'll find him reading, usually, on a stage down there."
I'm sorry, what was your name?
Hi, I'm Callie Toothspring.
Callie, it's nice to meet you. I'm Levi.
It's a pleasure.
And no, I'm not a wizard. I like to read, and I like knowledge.
Oh, well, fascinating. Welcome to the wizard's classroom, as it were.
It's a pleasure to meet you. Maybe I'll be back here. And he'll head off to Tabernacle.
Okay. The halfling smiles and waves at you as you do. The elf continues focusing on his wand and does not pay you any mind.
I didn't even acknowledge him.
Yeah. As you head toward the balcony and you look down, there is a massive brass dragon laying on a stage. And that's the first thing you see because he's gleaming and shining in the firelight. You see that in front of the stage that this dragon is laying on is what looks like a very well-furnished sitting room. There are couches and chairs with broad tables, and you can smell coffee from up here. And then around it, you see that there are all sorts of art objects and portraits and paintings and various sculptures around the room. You know you're in a dragon's lair. A brass dragon's lair. These are his treasures, as they all look as though, just at a glance, they have histories about them. And, you know from what you've been told in your life, brass dragons value histories and stories over any other treasure. The dragon glances up at you and says, "Welcome. How may I be of service?" And he closes the book. Now, he wasn't holding it with his claws, but you see it magically shut, and his attention is on you.
Interesting. I'm just here looking for conversation. Maybe information on... I was told that you were the one who created these rooms. Had a hand in it, at the very least.
I did. It's been a while since anybody has investigated. I am pleased to talk about it, though. Why don't you come and have a seat?
And you can see he kind of rearranges himself. Like, imagine a cat doing the bread loaf thing, where they tuck their paws in underneath their chest, but it's a dragon doing it.
I love it. Yeah. Amazing. Alright, I'll just go pop a squat next to him.
Okay. There's a very comfortable, like, overstuffed chair that you've chosen. And you can feel it almost like pressing into the aching muscles of your back and legs, and it's a very nice chair. It's extremely comfortable. And as Tabernac is looking down at you, he says,
I must know, how is it you became so curious into the Mariguard?
Well, I lived in a town far, far north in the Northern Frosts. My family and the people I lived with weren't the wisest or smartest. They only cared about surviving and going day to day. I didn't really want that life, so I left and went to, one second, forgot the name of the town. I think it's Quarterstone?
yes.
Yeah, Quarterstone. And I met a woman there who taught me some things, and when she ran out of things to teach me, she recommended I come here.
Well, then I welcome you with open arms. Now, you wish to understand the intricacy between the doors here.
Indeed. The monk classroom itself is impossibly large. And the thing, is it a place that you can go to? I don't know.
It is. It is a glade in Arbara, near the Fey Hop. I perhaps will begin at the beginning, as all stories might need to. Just over 100 years ago, I was approached by an adventurer who claimed to be from another world. A half-orc by the name of Crumb Copperhand. He was reputed as a hero and required that I aid him. One moment.
Yep.
Crumb Copperhand approached me, asking for my aid, and as such, a trade was made. But their terms were agreeable, and so I assisted Mr. Copperhand and his accomplices. One you may have met, at the time was young, dwarf named Halpersh Corundumson. They really got along quite well, if I remember. Anyway, they wished to take an old fortress and turn it into a place where they could train the next heroes to take the world into their own hands and save it from darkness. I, a bit hungry for stories and all my own tack on history, was excited to take part. And so, we took that old fortress, and we made it something new, something great. I learned the means of a demiplane spell from an old, vampiric master from Triton. He taught me how to bind certain regions of the world via a portal. That is what each of these doors are. They are portals to different locations that have been built to purpose. Some of the rooms are also shared with other businesses and such as the rogue classroom. That was up to Maxwell himself. The previous instructor had chosen an old clock tower in KO, but he perished maybe 20 years ago, and since Maxwell has done us very well. That being said, each classroom is a location in the world that you can stumble upon, and we have had some awkward situations before.
Then that brings the question to mind.
Mm-hmm.
The monk classroom. Why, when I fell, there was a bottom before, but when I hit it, there was no bottom.
That is one of my favorite tricks, as it were. I call it a contextual transmutation. The spell is simple, you see. When you fall to the floor, should you take harm, instead you briefly are glimpsed into the plane of water. And when you return, you are able to stand as if you weren't. It's a minor, planar. I don't like to call it plane shift, because it's more like a planar smudging, if you were. A rubbing of the boundary away. Very simple enchantment. Very, well.
You say simple, but it takes all my thought to grasp this concept.
Well, you're not a wizard, are you? I could train you to think this way in the matters of the weave, but you've chosen a different path, which I respect.
I think the patience to understand something is more important than the ability to grasp it.
Well said, I think, as a study of the physical arts and the manipulation of ki, I imagine you are a perfect candidate.
It was very informative. Thank you very much, Tabernacle.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
What is going through your mind?
Currently going through his mind is he's trying to think about what would happen if he fell as a full dragon into the pool of water. Would it the enchantment still be the same? Does it differ between species?
Okay. Tabernacle would just kind of not tip his head and say,
Also, it is a pleasure to see another of my own kind studying here.
He freezes. What? You mean Dragonborn? Do they not have those here?
you see Tabernacle's eyes kind of narrow, and he says,
Do not waste my time with such foolish dishonesty.
Yeah, my apologies. And his face is just kind of like frozen over. And he's kind of looks like he's in terror.
Are you quite all right, Master? I don't believe you introduced yourself.
Right. I guess you can call me my real name, Luxunvur.
All right, Master Luxunvur, it is a pleasure to meet you. I am not here to try and give up the goose, as it were. I understand our nature's need to hide reality, especially amongst mortals. So, how about your taken name?
Levi.
Well, Levi, it is a pleasure to meet you.
A pleasure to meet you too. And he's trying to calm himself after being caught.
okay. I think Tabernacle you'd see that he looks slightly amused. he would say to you,
"It truly is a shame that you've chosen a physical arts course. I would have loved to show you what it is that I know, but the path of the wizard is not one for everyone. Now, do me a favor.
Yes?
Try and keep the discovery of your nature to me and no one else.
How did you know? Do I smell?
No. It's a bad habit, truly. I can pick up the thoughts that swim up on the surface. You gave yourself away. Now, if I had chosen to truly investigate you, I would have discovered it immediately, but that's because of my own magical ability and no one else's.
Right. Can I prevent you from doing that? Or maybe other people from doing that?
There are magical items you can acquire that will shield you from the prodding of thoughts. There are also magical items that you can purchase that will prevent the detection of true nature. They are not cheap, however. You will require some funds if you wish to purchase these sorts of things, which, I'm aware, certain free agencies will provide a small bonus or wage should you complete. That also being said, you can also likely look for work out in Ferrum. There's always something that needs doing.
Do you know of anybody else in the academy here that can do what you do?
Well, many of the contractors, if they choose to. I have the unique situation where I'm always doing it. Let me let you in on a little secret here, Levi.
and he kind of leans forward a little over his legs and bringing his mouth closer to you. He says,
I trust no one.
Very wise.
I mean, you don't really think we're still in Ferrum in this room, do you?
And then you just see the realization spark across his face. No, didn't even cross my mind.
No, my lair would not fit atop this tower. Now would it?
That makes a lot more sense. I think I need sleep.
You do look fairly tired.
Iriakison's a harsh one.
Harsh but effective. Apparently,
Not wrong.
apparently one of his old students came here, and when she perished, he took it upon himself to do the job right, is what he said.
What happened? Do you know?
Oh, she had taken assignment as a contractor. Headed to... Well, I do know the actual specific story, but do you have the time for it?
How long have I been here so far?
half an hour.
Yeah, I got time for it.
She and her contracting group were assigned to visit an old ruin, an ancient one of dwarven creation, and in doing so, during their task, she and her group were betrayed. She was slain, her soul spent to activate an ancient artifact. Now, the group brought back many powerful items, many of them I still have here in this room. But as that contractor perished, and word reached out to her old master. As I said, he immediately came here, requested to work as an instructor for the physical arts. We had a monk instructor before, although when the Mariguard fell 2 years ago, he was slain. So, after it was rebuilt, Iriakis took on the mantle, so it were.
Oh shit. You were just a vessel for stories. What do you mean the Mariguard fell?
I forgot, that's not common knowledge. 2 years ago, the Mariguard Academy had its, well, there were enemies of us, and they managed to destroy our fortress. Using weapons from Ceres, they ambushed us early one morning, having hidden their true intentions behind magic and wards. They surprised us, managed to destroy the structure, and took many valuable artifacts. We learned that their treachery ran deep, and many of our staff were actually traitors. They have been expunged and or dealt with, and the castle clearly has been rebuilt, with some unique modifications.
You couldn't even tell it was destroyed?
I am good at what I do.
Indeed. I think Levi would sit here and just converse with Tabernacle until he had to sleep.
Okay. Tabernacle will talk to you. He'll ask you of stories as well, as that is a brass dragon's true treasure, is stories. But, yeah, you can spend the rest of the evening here, just talking to Tabernacle.
Yep, that's what we'll do, if you want to skip to the next day.
Okay. One moment. Do you go to dinner?
Probably not.
Okay.
I probably lost track of time talking to Tabernacle.
Okay. Then eventually you do retire to your quarters. You do eventually go to sleep. Would you sleep well that night? Exhausted, but...
Oh, yeah, he's gotten a lot of new information that has sated his curiosity. He's tired, exhausted. He sleeps like a fucking rock.
So the question is...
No, he would not get up on time.
No, that's not the question.
Oh, okay.
The question is, would Levi be happy with how his first true day at the Mariguard went?
Yeah, he would definitely be happy on the experience he had.
Okay. Then, if you said you don't wake up on time,
He would know.
you are awoken by a knock at your door.
No. Who is it?
It's me. You got to come to class.
Oh, fuck. Fuck! And he'll just get up and just start to get ready. Bolt out the door.
It's Kyo, obviously. And as you are bolting out the door, he says, Easy. I figured you'd be asleep late. You got a few minutes.
Oh, I forgot my quarterstaff. Hold on. And I'll go and grab it.
Kyo hands you what looks like a little bag. When you look in it, it has some fruit in it. And he says, you gotta eat something before dealing with class. And then he begins heading toward the monk classroom.
Alright, thank you. And he'll chow down on some fruit. I can
Okay.
hit the long rest button, right? For the
Yes,
exhaustion
you
point?
can hit long rest.
Yeah. Alright, good to go.
As you head to the monk's sanctuary, Iriakis' classroom, once again, You are not actually late because Kyo saved you from that embarrassment. However, Iriakis stands in the middle of the circle. You see he has a quarterstaff leaning against him. And as soon as Kyo enters the room and you follow him, he passes the quarterstaff to Kyo. And he says, "Now that I have 2 students, you will spar."
Right, that is not what I thought was going to happen. I thought it was time for him to beat the shit out of me. Thankfully, it's not the case. Right. So.
Hold on.
I look. Okay.
Now, you are sparring. So you are here in the map, in the world. And you are going to roll initiative for me. Now, every attack that you do hit deals 1 damage. Every attack that Kyo hits deals 1 damage. Oh boy, that's not great.
Nope. Oh, my hit points reset for some reason. Hold on.
Oh, hang on. It's because you hit long rest and it removed the modifier. I will tweak that.
I can just edit this sheet real quick.
Okay.
Manage HP and then just HP modifier 40. And it should
Yeah.
just stay. And do we hit long rest? Yep. Nope, it reset the modifier. Weird.
Well,
I'll just have to change it every time.
we'll get it. We'll figure it out. I'll figure out what's going on here.
Yeah, no worries.
All right. So Kyo does go first, as he takes the quarterstaff from Iriakis, and he looks at you, and he just kind of gives you this, here we gotta. And Kyo Kasei is going to swing his quarterstaff at you. Now, remind me, you can make 2 attacks on your turn. You can make an attack as an action and an unarmed attack as a bonus action, correct?
When you use the attack action with an unarmed strike or a monk weapon on your turn, you can make 1 unarmed strike as a bonus action.
Correct. So Kyo is going to do the same. Because it's a monster page. I don't actually have a monk stat block here. But he will make 2 attacks on you. Each attack is going to deal 1 damage, whether it's with a quarterstaff or a hand. It doesn't matter, because we are teaching, not trying to kill each other.
Right.
Okay, so Kyo goes first. You see that he has a very different attack style than what you first learned. It is, it's very flowy and lightweight. There's lots of spins and acrobatic movements as he moves around you. What's your AC?
18.
Okay, I rolled a 14 and a 20. So the second one hits. So as he swings the quarterstaff at you, you block it with your own, and then he plants the quarterstaff on the ground and acrobatically kind of swings up, and a foot connects. Not a very well-meaning blow, as it glances off the side of your chest, but it hurts. And you hear Kyo say, "Oh, sorry."
I just kind of give him a nod, like, it's cool. I'm about to hit you.
It's fair. It's your turn.
I take the staff and I kind of put it on the ground, and I go up and I just do 2 unarmed attacks. Just 1 swing and then kind of a twirl motion to come around with the elbow.
Okay. Roll your attacks.
This one.
Well, a 20 certainly hits. And a 23 certainly hits. So you deal 2 points of damage. Okay, hold on. So, as this is happening, you out of the corner of your eye, you see Iriakis just standing there with his hands clasped behind his back. As the blows connect, Kyo seems to take them in stride. He's trying to parry and block, but you manage to get through. You get through. You deceive him with how you're hitting him. And the blows land, and he kind of jumps back a little bit as it's his turn. Unless you have another trick, I guess.
Nope.
Okay.
I have 0 tricks.
Oh, that's like your action bonus action. I forgot. Okay. So Kyo is going to attempt to sweep the quarterstaff and try to trip you. So this is going to be an athletics contest.
Oh, shit.
It's okay. He's not great at it either.
All right, good. I'm not real good. Oh god, that's awful.
He rolled really well. He rolled an 18. So the quarterstaff swishes between your legs, and before you know it, he lifts the quarterstaff up, and your legs just suddenly you lose your footing, and you are prone on the ground. And he will sweep and then drop a foot down onto your chest in an attempt to attack that he has advantage on because you're prone. Didn't seem to help. That's a 14 to hit. So you roll out of the way, basically.
Yep.
Okay. And you hear Kyo say, damn, as he tries to reset. It's your turn.
Can I attempt to trip him back?
Sure can. Athletics contest.
So we flavor it as I'm pushing myself up out of the water, and as I do, I use my arms and spin to just leg sweep him and drop him.
Okay. That's a very kung fu move. Go ahead and roll athletics for me.
God damn it!
Hold on, he's real bad at it too, so you totally might land it with that. With an 11. Yeah, I rolled a 4. So you stand as you're rising, you sweep your arms around, and as Kyo is trying to back away to create distance, you just whoop, and his feet, wah, and he's flat on his back.
Alright, and then I punch.
Okay, roll an attack. At advantage, because he's prone. Yes, 15. No, I'm sorry. A dirty 20 just hits. Not just hits. It hits squarely. His AC isn't as good as yours, but it's better than 15. You deal another point of damage. And perhaps a damage to pride. No, I'm just kidding. It's part of the training. Kyo is going to stay on his back, and he's going to try and grapple by binding his legs up around yours. This is another athletics contest.
Can I argue the fact that I can jump away from him for acrobatics?
That can be your defense, but it can't be acrobatics. It's got to be athletics.
Oh, that was really good.
Oh, yeah, no problem. You feel his legs trying to wind up around yours, and you manage to jump back, and just the water... and you realize you're getting tired quickly.
Oh.
The water that is constantly splashing around your feet, you feel a burn in your thighs that you didn't expect to be there. It is harder to fight in the circle.
Okay.
It's not having a real effect yet, but if you fight for a long time, you know this is going to suck. However, Kyo will stand up, and he just kind of raises the quarterstaff in a looks like a gesture of respect, and then he surges forward, plants the quarterstaff, and tries to sidekick you. That's an 8 to hit. So it's your turn.
So feeling the water and fighting against the water is tiring me out. I'm gonna try to take it sort of like the training we did yesterday with the walking up the trees, and try to, I guess, go with the water and not try to fight it as much, or maybe slower, or just something along those lines. Just take my time and be one with the water. Maybe that'll help.
Roll me a perception check.
Okay. I'm good at those. As I roll, fucking, never mind. I just need to stop.
A 13. Wow. All right. Okay, so describe. You are trying to reduce the effect the water is having by moving with the water. The water fights you when you try to move quickly. But when you try and you slow down, the resistance is gone. So, go ahead and make your attacks.
Okay.
Whatever they are. Punch, okay.
It's just gonna be a quick pop to the chest.
Okay. Yeah, you hit. You hit both attacks. He takes another 2 points of damage. The effect of slowing down, not fighting the water, is your movements take on a much more deliberate form. Your feet, you raise them slowly and then plant them quickly. You shift how you're moving. And with a 13 on perception check, you suddenly see Ariakis doing what looks like forms, where he suddenly steps forward, raising his foot high and then planting it on the water. Except for the first time, you see his foot sink into the water. And then he performs a very high kick, but it starts slow, where he raises his foot out of the water and then snaps his knee into a very powerful front kick, and then he just drops it straight down into the water, mimicking how you move. It seems as though you've learned something, or maybe you're beginning to learn something here. It's now Kyo's turn.
Okay.
Kyo is going to try another quarterstaff attack, because that's worked so well. And then, oh my god. He does hit with the punch afterwards. So again, as he swings the quarterstaff at you, the movements where you are shifting with your hips instead of your feet, the strain from the water is gone. And as he swings the quarterstaff at you, you pivot around your hips without moving your feet, and he misses completely. And you feel like a sense of satisfaction, as though your idea is working. And then you get kicked in the side of the head.
Reality check.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We're just gonna come up and I'm gonna snap kick him in the side of the ribs.
Okay, roll an attack. Are you snap kicking the way you saw Ariakis do it?
Yep, exact same way.
24 hits.
Okay, and then immediately after the snap kick, I'm gonna come down with an elbow from the opposite side.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay, you deal 2 more damage. You have hit this dude way more than he has hit you.
Yeah.
He's trying. You're just your dice are just like you beat the shit out of Kyo. It'll help. And he's like, I brought you breakfast. Okay. Okay. So at the end of your turn, Ariakis plants his foot, having finished the form, and he says, "Enough." And as soon as he says that, Kyo, he was like raising the quarterstaff up for like a feinting attack, and he just stops. And it's an awkward moment where he's like got one foot up in the air, and he just plants it and says,
Amazing.
Yes, master. And Ariakis stands there, feet in the water. Hold on. Let me close that. All right. He stands, and he says, Kyo, you fight without focus, going through the motions. You are not learning. Levi, you discovered the difficulties of fighting here, and you learn. Kyo, what is it that he learned that you did not? And Kyo is looking at you, and he just looks absolutely mystified. I'm gonna roll a like a wisdom check for him to see if he figures it out. He rolled pretty good.
Okay.
So he thinks about it. He kind of looks down at the water, and he looks at you, and he says, The water was making it hard to fight." And Ariakis nods and says, "So how do you cope?" And Kyo, like, you see, like, just gears mesh in his eyes. And he's like, That's why you changed how you were fighting."
Give a nod.
Ariakis says, "Well done. Now, you have forms you need to learn, Levi. Kyo, you have forms you need to learn as well. And on that note, I'm going to require 2 rolls from you, an intelligence check and a wisdom check, to see how well you learn a new form.
Intelligence check and then a wisdom check. Okay. Intelligence. Alright. Wisdom.
Okay, that intelligence is really good.
Wisdom wasn't.
12, okay.
I watched it roll from 17 to 7.
Oof. For the rest of the day, Ariakis makes you go through this new form. It is the form that you kind of had first experimented with. This form of planting yourself firmly, making powerful attacks, but that start slow, so it's almost deceptive. Basically fighting in water. You understand it, but with a 12 on your wisdom check, you have a lot of training to go to get it down.
Right.
So, but that for the 19 intelligence check, that's the only intelligence check you need to make to study the form and understand its principle. Now it's just going to be wisdom checks to actually learn it.
Okay.
Kyo needs to roll as well. Okay. Kyo doesn't get it. Kyo does not understand. He's trying to. He's not a dumb guy, but it seems like this is just... It's not easy. At the end of the day of training, Ariakis says, "Thank you for training with me. The rest of the evening is yours." And he turns and he heads back toward these 2 stone, the stone like walls that he always goes to.
Right.
What do you do?
No exhaustion today?
You are not exhausted today. You did not. You trained, but you did not exhaust yourself.
I'm going to look for Nore.
Okay. Hold on. You're gonna look for Nore. Okay. You know that she is of the Bard class. Okay,
So,
let me...
suppose heading to the Bard classroom would be the first place to check.
Probably, yeah. You go down... You know where the Bard classroom is, as you were shown where it was yesterday. Or not yesterday, the day before. And as you head to the Bard classroom, it's not hard to spot, as it is the most ornately decorated door of any of them. All sorts of artwork and carvings and paisley into the wooden door. Do you knock? You just go in? What do you do?
I'll knock, since I don't have Persh with me this time.
Okay. Hold on a minute. I appear to have misplaced the Bard's room.
Oh no.
I don't know how I did that. It's just... Okay. Whatever. Here it is. Okay. Roll me a D100.
Okay. 75.
Nore is indeed in the Bard's classroom.
Oh, hell yeah.
When you open the door, there is a whole performance happening in here. Yithrun, Nore, and Tally are playing together, and Tally is singing. It is a very upbeat song, and the lyrics seem to be about a very lascivious sailor who is a fan of adultery. As you enter the room, Tally looks at you as she's singing, and you can see that the corners of her lips tilt up in a smile. Nore has a flute to her mouth, so it is hard to tell. And Yithrun, you can't... Roll me an insight check. He's no.
He is no. Nope.
You don't know. Yithrun is hard to read. It's literally hard to read the face of a knoll. But the performance goes on for a couple minutes. Do you do anything in the meantime?
I'll go grab some books to read while they're doing their thing.
Okay. Eventually, the performance ends, and as you have the books that you've collected, Tally looks at you and says, "So what do we owe the pleasure, Master Monk?"
I'm here for a promised night out, and I'll look to Nore.
Nore looks at Tally and Yithrun, and Tally says, "All right." And Nore just kind of looks at you and says, "Let's get the fuck out of her."
I'll look at Tally. Alright. I'll put the books back and we'll head out.
Okay. So as you leave the Bard classroom with Nore in tow, let me go ahead and pull up her sheet. Hold on. Okay. And then you leave the Bard classroom. You are out in the Mariguard proper, and Nore's following you, and she says, "So what you have in mind?"
I think it was you who said there was a tavern that you always go to.
There's the Shipstole, and there's the Mariguard. Well, let's go get a drink.
Lead the way.
She does. You walk out. Persh is at the front desk. This time, you see Persh is having a conversation with a green dragonborn.
Oh.
This dragonborn is wearing hides, very much looking almost tribal. And the green dragonborn glances at you, and there's like a moment where she looks surprised, and then she goes, like very happily waves at you. And then Persh says, "Hey, here, sign your name here." And she says, "Right, sorry." And she goes back to what Persh was doing.
That's it. Keep that in mind and give her a nod and just keep following Nore.
Okay. As you head out the door, Nore glances back and says, "A little distracted, are we?"
Well, it's not every day you see another dragon. Dragonborn. Yeah, he did that.
Yep. Nore's looks confused and is going to roll an insight check.
Okay.
Just roll me a performance.
Alright.
To try and write that off as a slip of the tongue.
13.
She rolled an 8.
Okay, good.
She did not roll well.
Okay, good.
As you, she just kind of shrugs and says, "I've seen your kind around Terracona all the time."
Oh shit, he's like, yeah, well, I've not been out there.
That's a fair point. And then
I'm from the Northern Frosts.
you did mention that. There's not that many Dragonborn out there.
It's only the family. And only the close people of the town. So seeing something that's not silver, it's different.
Get used to it. And she leads the way, and you see the Mariguard Tavern with its broad sign. It's a very large building, much larger than the ship stool. It is clearly 2 stories, and each story is generous. And as she heads up to the front door, she says, "I hope you're ready to drink, 'cause I am." And she opens the door.
All right.
You are immediately regaled with the sounds of merriment. It is just after 4 in the evening, which is pretty high time for the Mariguard. It is busy. And as you enter, a large gold dragonborn, speak of the devils, looks at you and nods. She's right inside the door. Her arms are folded. She's extremely well muscled, and she looks like she's supposed to be there.
And you are.
She looks at you.
Malvela.
Ah. A pleasure, I think.
Thanks.
And
Don't get in any trouble.
yeah, it shouldn't be too hard. And he'll keep walking. Just kind of
Okay.
looking at her.
And when Nore sees you distracted by the gold dragonborn, she says, "They're pretty common around here."
Didn't you tell me they weren't?
I may have lied. I'm just...
Is that gonna be a
I've seen
common
like
occurrence?
the 3 or 4. Ah! That's for you to find out.
I'm watching you.
I'd hope so. And she sits down at a table.
I'll take a seat too and just kind of look around. What's the crowd here look like?
In short, college students. Many other contractors and adventurers that look like they are affiliated with the Mariguard are here, drinking and talking and laughing. There are townsfolk and other folk that are here too. This seems like it's a pretty popular tavern, and it doesn't take much to understand why, because it smells delicious in here. The food smells that's coming from the kitchen is making your mouth water, and you realize just how little you've eaten over the last couple days. And Nore reaches over, and before any other thing happens, a tiefling appears next to the table, and he says, "Welcome to the Mariguard, where it is your duty to be merry." And then he holds out his hand, and a prestidigitation poof of sparks and confetti down over the table, and he says, "What?"
Well, he hates his life.
Yeah. He says, "What can I get you?"
You don't have to put on all that show, my friend. Just relax.
All right, cool. And he reaches into his little leather jerkin and pulls out a couple menus, and he hands them to you. Which I'm going to show you a menu.
You actually have a menu? Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Okay, so let me show you this. This is the drink menu.
Is this in handouts? What do I see this?
It should just appear after it loads. It's got to load.
Oh, okay.
And then this one. So give it a second. It'll appear. And when it does, you see Nore is kind of skimming through the menu as well. And she says, "I could certainly do with a bite to eat." And then she looks up at you. Has the menu loaded yet?
Yeah, it loaded.
Okay. She says... She orders what looks like... well, and I have to choose. I'm going to roll for her. That's a better solution here than to me try and hash it out for her. Okay, she's going to roll one of these. A 7. Okay. She orders the blackened steak.
Damn it. I was gonna look like I chose what she chose.
And then
What she's having.
and then she says, "Also, let me get a mug and tooth whiskey."
God, fuck off.
What?
That's what I was gonna get. He's just gonna be like, I'll take the Albert whiskey.
Okay.
A little frustrated. But.
The tiefling waiter nods and heads off. And you find yourself in a busy tavern with Nore across from you, and she seems amused at you taking in, like, all of the sights and sounds of this loud tavern, which is by far the most busy tavern you've ever seen.
Only like my third one.
Yeah, no kidding. Roll me a d10.
D10.
Hey, look at that. As you're seated at the table, you hear, "Hey, it's you!" And you look around and there's a little halfling with dark hair who has just entered the tavern. You recognize her from the wizarding classroom. It's Callie Toothspring.
Oh, it's Callie.
And she kind of bustles up, moving quickly as halflings try to, up to the side of the table, and she says, "It's a pleasure to see you again. Did you happen to have a good talk with Tabernac? You were there all night."
I learned a lot of things that I didn't know were possible.
"Well, he's full of stories, that one." And she kind of glances between you and Nori, and she says, "Oh, I'm interrupting something. I'm sorry. You enjoy your meal." And she scampers off.
I looked at Nori and what was that about?
Nore is kind of smirking as she looks at you, and she says, "I think little Callie there has assumed we're on a date."
And I'll look back to Callie. And I'll look back to Nori.
Callie's
Are
like scampered off. Nore like leans over the table toward you, and she says, "If you're lucky."
You should be counting yourself lucky.
Uh,
kind of lean back and smile.
Nore chuckles, and she says, "Well, that was smooth of you. I mean, we'll see what you're made of then." And then she leans back, and as she does, the waiter returns with the whiskeys that you've ordered. And as he sets them down, he like wiggles his fingers, and some magical imaginary flame just out of the top of the whiskeys. It's not really there. And he says, "As I said, it's your duty to be merry."
And as I said, you cut the shit and just relax.
"As you wish." And when he bows, the flames, some sparks fly out the top, and he leaves.
They always do that, eh?
Just him.
Why does he act like he hates it so much if he doesn't have to?
I think you should ask him that, because he's been like that ever since I met him. Coming here.
Maybe another day.
Well,
And he'll down his whiskey as soon as he says it.
it's strong. It's delicious. It burns. Roll me a con save.
Boy, please, Jesus, help me out. He wants to watch me burn.
No, you're buzzed. It's
Okay.
potent whiskey. With a 13, you keep it down. It doesn't burn too much, but the alcohol is strong in this one. And Nori watches you down it, and she says, "Christ, you're trying to forget something." And she takes a sip of hers.
Oh, you just gotta down the first one.
Maybe where you're from.
The first one is it gets you warm, and you go forward, mellow. You can sip the rest.
Like I said, if you're lucky, maybe you'll find out just how warm I am. And she takes another sip.
There you go about me being lucky again.
Well, so far, doesn't seem like it.
I'll remember that.
I'm sure you will. So, you've been here for 2 days now.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, outside of the docks and Tabernacle, I haven't been anywhere.
She shakes her head and she says, "No, you're training to be a monk, eh?
Oh, yeah. Of course.
That's the hardest course."
Is it?
Well, from what I hear. You...
Marcus is definitely... he's definitely a harsh one.
You thinking you might stick around?
Oh, yeah? I heard a lot of people quit, but it seems just fine to me.
I hope it stays that way.
What I've been through already is... I don't want to say it won't get any worse, but it has to, right?
I'd think so. My training's not so difficult, but it does wear on you.
Tedious, huh?
Well, it's just... I'm not one for high-energy people.
You picked the wrong course for that, then.
But I am one for music. It's just, where I grew up, most problems you could solve by stabbing them.
Oh. Well, once you're done with the Mariguard, what are your plans?
To be a contractor. To be an adventurer. To earn a fair wage. And explore the world. That's kind of the goal for anybody that comes here, isn't it?
Is it?
Well, I don't mean to assume for you, but from what I hear and people I've spoken to, everyone wants to be hired on as a contractor. It's a lot of money, and you can go anywhere. And it'd always be nice to have people watching your back. Why'd you come here? If not to be a contractor.
The pursuit of knowledge. The pursuit to better oneself and to understand the outside world.
Okay, those are very good answers to give your instructor, but I'm asking what you want. You, specifically. What do you want? Like, what do you want to do?
Whether you believe me or not is your own, but that is honestly what I do. I know nothing of the world. Where I come from is desolate and barren. Friends and family. It's all plain.
Huh.
If it didn't happen in the snow, I don't know about it.
Well, then what have you... Okay. So you've come here for the pursuit of knowledge. That's why you're always poking around for books, then. I admit it's fair. I accept that. So if you do pass your exams, are you back off to wherever you're from? The Northern Frosts?
Heavens, no. There is so much in the world that I don't know. So I'll move on to the next place. And honestly, I'll probably never stop moving.
So you won't be sticking with the Mariguard, then?
It's hard to say. If what you told me is true, and I can make money and go wherever, and learn whatever, I don't see why staying here would be bad.
Well, I don't know if you can go wherever you want, whenever you want, but I know for a fact contractors are sent all over the world, so you go where they tell you, but you can always explore it in your free time. I'm not a contractor. I wouldn't know.
Right.
Though I'm sure we could ask one if we look around. If you throw a boot, you might hit one.
I don't know. It is such a time in the future that I can't give you an answer.
It is at this moment that the tiefling arrives with 2 platters of food, which he sets down, and each one is like a large wooden plaque that has a massive blackened steak on it that's accompanied with all sorts of vegetables and potatoes. And as he sets them in front of you, he says, "It is my duty to provide the merry." And a small confetti
Why do you
appears
do
out of
this?
his horns.
What? You seem like you hate your life.
No,
No.
but I do hope you all enjoy your food.
The look of bewilderment on my face.
And he leaves. Then he stops back real quick and on the other side of the table, and he says, "Sorry, I forgot to ask. Do you two want a refill?"
Sure.
Norris nods as well, and he collects your glasses. And then Norris says, "He's a weird one."
Yeah. Can't even give me an answer.
It's. I don't think he wants to say he does it for tips.
Do you really tip him if he hates his life?
I think that's just him.
Can I insight check see if that's just him or if he
Yeah,
actually
roll an
hates his
insight check.
life? Yep, don't know.
With an 8, you have no idea.
Yep, nope. Fascinating.
And then Norre says, "Did you get clocked in the eye? I notice you're looking a little bruised up."
Well, you know, the training. There was some fighting today.
Oh, how'd you handle?
Much better than Joy, I think his name was.
Did you say that in character, or is this you not remembering his name?
No, that's what I said in character. I have his name written down.
Okay. Norre says, "Well, I'm sure everyone learns at their own rate, and like, look at Yethron. He's been here a few months, and Tally still tries to get through to him sometimes, but he's not the brightest."
First time I saw him perform, he was like he was competent.
Oh, he's a great musician. It's just he doesn't get the magic so much.
Ah, that makes sense.
He can play your ear off, though. He's much better a musician than I am.
I see.
As I said before, I'm better at stabbing things.
Well, do both. Be the best of both worlds.
It's true, but I do like the stabbing things. Been doing it since I was a little girl.
Been stabbing things?
Well, when you grow up on the Drake's Shores, there's lots of creatures that make their way up out of the water. You have to be willing to fight for your life and your family's life.
Afraid I don't know nothing about that.
Maybe one day you'll see it, and you'll see for yourself.
Indeed.
One day you'll be ice fishing, and then a jaculi will climb up out of the ice and try and pull you down with it.
A jaculi. Do I know what that is?
Roll a nature check.
15.
Do you, Simic, know what a jaculi is?
I do, yeah.
Then you know what a jaculi is.
Oh. Oh. You deal with those often out there, huh?
They like to prowl on the cold waters.
Traveling time? times as a young one, I see.
Makes you grow up hard, or not grow up at all. So, when I heard there was something better than living every day trying to keep your eyes on the door or on the horizon, I took my old bone flute and off I went.
Quite impressive.
I'd like to think so.
Oh. I wish I had rendered dreams. So.
Well, you're doing it now,
That's
aren't
my
you?
plan. Well, I'm sort of feeling my way down a dark alley. Don't know where I'm going.
1 second here. She raises an eyebrow and she says, Are you making fun of how I talk?
What do you mean?
You didn't have a Terraconan accent not but 10 minutes ago.
Sorry about that. It's a bad habit. Again, far away, the only people I can talk are friends, family. I kind of just start to mimic people once we've talked long enough.
You might be careful with that. You might offend someone.
Persh already thought I was being an asshole. That's the last guy I want to piss off.
Ain't that the truth? He'll be the one handling your team.
Team? What does that mean?
Your team? When you go on free agencies, or when you're a contractor, he's the one who schedules your team, who assigns who you're working with.
What's the free agents?
Oh, I keep forgetting you're brand new. You're gonna be sent on jobs around town or in the neighboring area. Ariakis will arrange for you to go and complete tasks for the Mariguard. It's hands-on training. It's called a free agency because people post requests to the Mariguard and the Mariguard does them for free.
Oh.
They're usually the sort of things that we can handle without threat of dying, or the sort of things that the Mariguard would like to use us for training on instead of a contractor that they have to spend money with.
I suppose that makes sense.
There's all sorts of interesting ones. I've been on 2 so far.
Where'd you go?
The first one I had to deal with, well, me and a couple others had to deal with an owlbear that was prowling a little too close to the town. We just stabbed it a lot and it died. The other was I had to talk to people. I think Tally was having a laugh when she sent me on that one.
I could see her laughing at something like that.
There was a ship at port, and it wouldn't. The captain owed quite a bit of money, and the guard had to lock his ship down. So we had to talk him out of killing himself.
Oh, that's awful.
He lives, so.
Well, that's good. You did your job.
Of course it did. Was there ever any doubt?
No. I can see you're quite good at what you do.
I certainly am. Whenever you get on a free agency, I don't know what it is you'll likely be doing. Punching stuff, probably. But just try and see the meaning behind it. Why you're being sent on that particular free agency. Because from what I can tell, the instructors have their pick. And if they choose you for something, it's because you need to learn something from it.
That's quite the helpful tip.
I wish someone had told me that when I started.
I guess I owe you that.
I think you owe me quite a lot.
I think I owe you at least this meal.
I'll take that. That's a good start. Have you been eating the meal?
Yeah.
It is feckin' delicious. The blackened steak it's crispy on the outside, but the flavors, it's full of juice. It is extremely well seasoned. You gain 10 temporary hit points.
Oh yeah, I'll take that shit.
Yeah. And that lasts 24 hours, so make a note of it.
Alright, good to know. Alright, after we're talking for a while and we get done eating. What time would you say it is?
Probably maybe about 6 in the evening.
Yeah.
Nori will look at you as you finish eating and you've paid, which it comes to about 5 silver for the 2 meals and the drinks. As you finish eating and you are sitting there at the table and sitting in the aftermath of a pleasant meal, Nori says, "Well, you got any more plans for the evening?"
Maybe head back to my room, get some rest. I got early day tomorrow.
Then I'll see you tomorrow.
If you're lucky enough. I get up and walk away.
She's chuckling as you're leaving. And that will be a good spot for the session to end.
Or is.
All right.
It's a lot of fun.
Good. I'm glad you had a good time. How do you feel about the training?
It fits. It's funny. I love it.
Good.
It's quite awesome.
As you accomplish different training feats, you'll earn other bonuses. Maybe not something quite like proficiency in wisdom saves again. That you can only get that once. But there will be other things you can earn just by training. Thank you for playing with me tonight. And I'll see you next week.
Yeah, hell yeah. Fuck, next week needs to be here like now.